All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome. So I'm Stephanie Brailsford, and today we're diving into some of the biggest myths around health, nutrition, and fitness that might be holding you back from the results that you deserve. When it comes to making lasting changes in your health and lifestyle, having the right tools can make all the difference. So here's a shocking stat to start. Are you going to pull up the? All right. Here it is. So 75% of people fail to maintain healthy habits because they're following outdated advice or myths. The good news, today we're going to bust those myths wide open, and we're going to give you some real actionable tips that will make a difference. So you'll walk away with clarity and easy steps to help you start living your healthiest, most energized life. And we have an approach built around four key components that create success: working together to simplify your journey, a coach, a supportive community, education, and a simplified intentional nutrition plan. So let's break down why each of these components is crucial. So number one is having a coach. So the myth is, how many times have you thought that I can do it all alone? But the truth is, you're 65 to 95% more likely to reach your goals when you have a coach guiding you. Negative self talk and distractions can derail your progress, and without knowing where to focus, it's easy to lose sight of your goals. Trust me, I was one of the most stubborn and independent people before realizing the value of a coach. I thought I knew a lot, but creating habits and being consistent did not happen for me previous to having a health coach. Plus, it's just more fun when someone's invested in your long-term success. So find a coach or an accountability partner to help you stay on track. Even a quick 5-minute check-in each week can keep you focused, motivated, and help you see your blind spots. So number two is community. So we might give into the thought that I don't need to be involved in a community. But the truth is, being part of a community significantly boosts your chances of success because we are social creatures. We thrive when we share our challenges and our victories. And studies show that we become like the 5 people that we spend the most time with. So when it comes to getting healthy, start surrounding yourself with other people on that same journey. Trying to make big changes in isolation can feel overwhelming and lonely. So without the support of others who understand, it's easy to feel like giving up. Thinking that you are the problem and no one else is struggling with XYZ just isn't true. A community helps you see that we're all on the path of health, and it looks different for everyone. Perfectionism often keeps us stuck. And I didn't realize the value of community until I found this healthy community. It's one of my favorite parts of my day to get on a call and hear from so many people who are also contending for their health. So stay plugged into a community of like-minded people who are on similar journeys. Their encouragement and shared experiences will keep you motivated when things get tough. We actually offer daily 15-minute win calls that are powerful for bringing positivity into our lives, and anyone is welcome to join. So number three, have you ever said to yourself, I know what I need to do, I just need more willpower? But knowing what to do is one thing, and knowing why it works and how to actually apply it to your daily life is another. Education empowers us to make informed choices. Studies show that willpower in itself weakens over time. The more you rely on it in the short term, the harder it becomes to draw on that same strength later. So without the right knowledge, it's easy to fall back into old habits or follow ineffective trends that cut the importance of healthy habit and mindset improvement. So immerse yourself in education that's focused on sustainable health habits. Understanding how nutrition, mindset, and habits work together will empower you to make better choices for the long haul. We highly recommend the education system that Dr. Wayne Scott Anderson compiled in his books, The Life Book and Dr. A's Habits of Health. And number four is a simplified intentional nutrition plan. So the myth around this is that healthy eating has to be complicated and takes a ton of time. But the truth is, simplified nutrition takes the guesswork out of meal planning. And Optavia's plans are designed to be easy to follow and fit seamlessly into your life, providing you with less decision making and saving you time. The problem is that overcomplicating nutrition often leads to decision fatigue and frustration, making it harder to stay consistent. We make 35,000 decisions a day, so having a system is crucial for success. So stick to a simple, intentional nutrition plan that removes the stress of figuring out what to eat. Having a plan can save you time and create habits of simplified meal prep. Keep it straightforward and you'll build consistency over time to maintain those healthy habits. So now I'm going to turn it over to Christy.
Thanks, Steph. I'm Christy Peterson. I'm excited to talk about the next myth. And I've been a coach for almost 10 years, so it's pretty interesting to see how these myths have a rotating effect on the thoughts that we have. But the next myth we want to talk about is eating healthy is too expensive. So I hear this all the time, but the reality is eating healthy doesn't have to cost more. In fact, it really is the opposite. So think about it. How much does a meal cost at a restaurant? The average meal eating out is $11, but I'm pretty sure that was on the low end. But cooking at home not only saves you money, but gives you control over what goes in your body. So the problems with believing this myth is that it keeps people in a cycle of relying on convenience food. Not only are they more expensive in the long run, but the quality of nutrition you get is much lower. So I have some tips for eating healthy on a budget. First, shop smart. Buy frozen or canned vegetables to save money. They last longer and they are just as nutritious. Cook at home. Even quick, simple meals will save you money and boost your nutrition and likely save time. Also, use what you have. Rotate food from your pantry before buying more to avoid waste. Now, this last weekend, we had our fall break and we went to Bear Lake. And we had planned on going on one night out. Otherwise, I had brought groceries from the fun. And Jen, we go to the next slide. Sorry, thanks. I had planned on the fun that we would just go out one time. And this is something my family looks forward to. We got to the restaurant and we were waiting there for 15 minutes before someone even came to talk to us. So there goes 15 minutes of our time. Then we started to look at the menu and it was lucky enough that we landed on one place where everyone would go, but there was nothing anyone really wanted. Everyone wanted random things that wasn't really at this restaurant. So we decided, after they still didn't come talk to us again, to just go to the grocery store and to buy anything everyone wanted. But of course, I was able to sneak in 2 salads so we could get in our veggies, and everyone else picked what they wanted. The restaurant would have cost us over $120 just to get our each individual meal. But the grocery store, we spent $72, and everyone had triple the amount of food, so we even had leftovers for the next day. It was incredible. Not only did we eat better, but we felt better because we saved money. And so there's a quote: eating well doesn't have to break the bank. It's about being smart with what you have and making better choices. Dr. Wayne Scott Anderson said that. So if you notice this picture that I put up, you see that McDonald's for 4 people is $28. But if you get much healthier options, it was $13.78. And not only is the price better, but the nutrition factor in that. What's going to make you feel better in the long run? Saving money and eating better. I say that's a win-win. So the next myth is energy drinks are my friend. Okay, so we've all reached for that quick fix, but energy drinks are more like a frenemy. So the truth is, while they give you a temporary boost, they lead to crashes, disrupt your sleep, and can harm your heart. Real energy comes from balance, proper nutrition, exercise, and sleep. The problem with energy drinks is that these spikes lead to crashes, which leave you to feeling more drained. Plus, too much caffeine can really harm your health over time. So, some real tips for that real energy: focus on blood sugar balance. This means eat your balanced meals with protein, healthy fats, and fiber. Prioritize your sleep. A solid night's rest does so much more for your energy than any can. Hydrate and exercise. Proper hydration and regular movement are your real energy boosters. Now, Dr. A said this: energy drinks can't replace what your body needs. Balanced nutrition, hydration, and proper rest. That is the key.
All right. So now I'm going to do the next two myths. So myth number 3, eating less will help me lose weight faster. Cutting calories sounds like the answer, right? But here's the truth. It's not about eating less. It's about eating smarter. Extreme calorie restriction can lead to excess hunger, low nutrition, and make weight loss harder. If you go too far down in your calories, your body thinks it's like, where's the food going to come from? And it kind of goes into like a starvation mode and starts to build the weight instead of helping you lose the weight. It's not about the number of calories. It's about the quality that you're putting in your body. Some of the problems are people often get stuck focusing on the scale and not on their overall health, how they feel, leading to frustration and yo-yo dieting. Remember, the scale is only one measurement of health. Sometimes we're actually losing inches around our waist. I actually have restarted my life book, and about a year ago, I weighed 2 pounds less than I do now. And that really would have had me in the dumps because I'm not doing very well, except for that luckily I measured my waist. So I might be 2 pounds up, but I'm 2 inches around my waist down. So remember, the scale is only one measurement of your weight loss journey and of your health. Other things to consider: that calorie restriction without proper nutrition, especially not enough protein, can result in losing muscle mass. Again, with the scale, you might be losing pounds, but it's not the pounds you want to be losing. So stop counting calories. Focus on balanced meals that include protein, healthy fats, and fiber. Maintain a regular eating schedule to avoid overeating or being hungry. Prioritize nutrient-dense foods that keep you full and energized. A quote from Dr. A: it's not about eating less, it's about eating smarter. Feeding your body what it really needs to thrive. Okay, myth number 4. I need to spend hours at the gym to build muscles. Well, I have good news. You don't need marathon gym sessions to build your muscles. The truth: shorter, more focused resistance training sessions, about 20 to 30 minutes, are way more effective than long workouts and much easier to fit into a busy schedule. Some of the problems with those marathon workouts is you overwork your body, which leads to burnout and frustration. Longer workouts don't equal better results. There are some people that work out really hard all the time and they look the same and they feel the same and they're not changing. So prioritize some resistance training, just 20 or 30 minutes, 3 to 4 times a week. Make sure you're getting enough protein and your essential amino acids to support your muscle repair. And don't forget about recovery. Rest is essential for your muscle growth. When you're at the gym lifting those weights, you're tearing up your muscles. You have to remember to recover, which is when they heal and build back even stronger. Another quote from Dr. A: it's not about how long you train, it's about how effectively you train and fuel your body.
Okay, so do you want to go over these tips for building muscle efficiently? Bailey,
Oh,
let's.
sure. I can do that. So some of the tips for building your muscles efficiently: if you prioritize your resistance training, which is the 20 to 30 minutes, just 3 or 4 times a week. That's like a lunch break 3 or 4 times during the week. Make sure you're getting your proteins, your essential amino acids, which is the EAAs, that helps your muscles repair well. And then you want to focus on your recovery as well. It's just as important. Remember that when you tear them up at the gym, you got to give them a chance to build back and become even stronger.
So good, Baleen. Thanks so much for sharing those. So my name's Jen, and I'm excited to share a couple more myths. We are just running through these, and it's kind of crazy how many myths there are. And it's like the society or the fads that happen just kind of always kind of shift. And so when you can have some solid education with Dr. Anderson that Stephanie referenced, it really can give us that power to cut through all this, because I struggled for the longest time when it came to knowing what to do. I was like, this thing says to do the exact opposite as this thing, and I just couldn't get the results I wanted before getting started. So we're going to go over another myth. So I can't enjoy my favorite foods and still lose weight. So I think that this one, like for those who are in that mode of either thinking, hey, I'm never going to reach my goal because I can't imagine not having my favorite foods once I've, done that weight loss phase. And so like that whole mindset is like, how can we shift our relationship with food? So the truth on this one is it's about balance and mindfulness, not deprivation. So the deprivation is a mindset. You can enjoy your favorite foods and treats in moderation without guilt when you've worked on your relationship with food and created more mindfulness and self-awareness, which is something incredibly taught in the life book. So the problems that people experience is that they, a lot of times feel that restriction when they try to get healthy. All of a sudden they go into like all or nothing mode. And, I haven't yet met a person who's healthy and consistent, who identifies as a perfectionist. I feel like that has to be like thrown out the door, because perfectionism can really kind of sidetrack us from what we're really trying to do. So it leads to overeating or, what is it? Let's see, or quitting altogether. So there's the problems there. So I love this quote. What was that? Sorry. It's not about deprivation. It's about the mindfulness and making choices that serve your health and your happiness. Really powerful. I love Dr. A's quotes. He's so good. So there's a few tips. Use the 3-bite rule. Have you guys heard of that before? It's super powerful. So you're having 90% of satisfaction in the first 3 bites. So in understanding that concept, they've done a lot of studies to determine that. And it's like the mindfulness can be there, and then it kind of moves into mindlessness as you continue to eat a lot of times. I mean, have you guys ever gone to the movies and had popcorn and like, you're like eating and it's all the way down to the bottom of the box. You're like, oops, what happened? So just having that enjoyment level can really be increased if you're mindful as you enjoy things. Focus on balance, incorporate nutrients dense meals that are, not necessarily around your treats. I know I've gone to a lot of parties where I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going to be there? Like, just, I've had my brain go there before, versus really focusing on people and the enjoyment of being present in the moment. And then another is to shift your mindset. It's not about scarcity. And if you really are becoming more self-aware, you'll notice that that is in the scarcity mindset. It's about abundance and making empowered choices. It's not about deprivation. It's about the mindfulness and making choices that serve your health and your happiness, which I've read. Okay, so here's another myth. And I just want to give the opportunity for us. I think that there's a lot of opinions about using tools to create weight loss. And there is a place for a lot of different things. And here's the myth. Ozempic, medical weight loss drugs, or semaglutides are the magic pill for lasting weight loss. And if you kind of really think about it, I think in the mindset, maybe people know idealistically that it's not the answer for everything, but they kind of treat it like it is, because they don't have tools to be able to shift that mindset and change that relationship with food. So the truth is, these medications are just tools. They don't replace the need for lasting habit changes, a healthy relationship with food, or the importance of quality nutrition. When we're really feeding and fueling our body correctly, it's like the cravings go down. Like your energy goes up. There's so many benefits when we're eating correctly and the high quality there. All of the pieces fit together. So as far as Ozempic, it can have a place to really quiet the food noise, but we can't, like, here's the problems that exist. Many people rely on medical weight loss drugs and experience inadequate nutrition because they are not hungry oftentimes. And like they're sick when they try to eat. So that is completely very common for those who are using any of those tools. And then this is another stat that's a big deal. And so this is for anyone using the Ozempic, medically weight loss drugs, or the semaglutide. So up to 40% of the weight loss is muscle loss. And that's crazy. So it's not coming necessarily from fat, which is a big deal because our goal is fat loss. And our skeletal muscle health is directly correlated to our longevity in our lives. They say the muscle, your quads, really determine a lot on how long you'll live. It's kind of crazy. And so here's some tips for those who are using medical weight loss drugs. So prioritize protein. Ensure you're getting enough, and like we have some awesome resources for this. If you're like, oh my gosh, how much protein should I have? Even as a normal, not using this, like learn how much protein will support you in your goals. It's really important. And the guesswork isn't really reliable, and you can't measure and really understand where you're at. It's just like throwing a dart and not having a target, right? So another is incorporating resistance training. So this is specific. I was with someone at a doctor's office who was using Ozempic, and the doctor was saying, I'm not even going to prescribe any of this unless I know that the patient is absolutely consistent and intentional about resistance training. So to build and preserve muscle while shedding the pounds, really, really important. And also the muscle health to be able to absorb the nutrients, that also goes together with that as well. So here's another, add essential amino acids. If you don't know what they are, it's broken down protein. So these can help maintain muscle mass during the weight loss phase. So amino acids do three things. It has to have the right efficacy, which means like the ratios of the leucine, valine, and valine, in order to have the light switch on to actually work. So third-party clinical studied, we have some resources for you if you need suggestions. It does three things: helps you build muscle. And this doesn't mean you have to go work out to have these benefits, okay? But I'm encouraging my clients to do that all the time, but it helps you build muscle, retain muscle, and it helps you prevent muscle soreness. So very helpful in your quest to building muscle. And also your body processes that essential amino acid, like 30 grams of protein. Most other that I have seen that are essential amino acids are 2-1-1 ratio. That's not going to work. So unless you're having 2 scoops every time, which kind of adds up in cost. Okay, so the next one is to shift your focus. Now that food isn't always on your mind, use this opportunity to focus on lifestyle changes and achieving your long-term health goals. That big picture, it's like our brains will always move to the immediate gratification. So giving that bigger picture as a mindful practice throughout, we have this phrase, lead from the future, act in the now. What would the healthiest version of insert your name here? What would they do? What would they think? What would they create? So a lot of things to think about there. Yeah. So here's a great quote. Well, I gotta get caught up. So with what we've shared, today we've debunked some of the biggest myths around health and fitness. And remember, the sustainable health comes from those balanced habits. It's all about habit formation. Because if we were consistent, we would have the life and the health that we wish for. So it's not about these quick fixes. So are you guys ready to take action? If you're tired of spinning your wheels and outdated advice, let's work together and reach out to the person who invited you to our webinar, and let's make these truths a reality in your life. When you know better, you do better. This is what Dr. Anderson says. When you know better, you do better. Let's make these truths your new normal. And so it's kind of fun to think about, the more education you learn can give you more power into making decisions that you have. So one thing that's really fun that we created just for this event for this workshop is a plan of action sheet. So it's like one Google Doc, you can just scroll down, but it's got my plan of action for this event. So if you have like a party to go to, this is for any type of event, you can, answer some of these questions, and it can really set you up for success to go to like rock the party and just feel so good afterwards instead of having all this regret. So really good there. And then as far as like, we're here around Halloween time, that sugar may be a little temptation for you. I am so grateful. We've been doing a health challenge. And most of the participants who will be watching this are from our health challenge. And we, some of us are doing 0 sugar, and I've done that this whole month. But this is kind of a fun other idea, whether you use it now or later, whatever. But we have some sugar, like healthy sugar substituted type of recipes that are amazing. I entered in this chocolate one that's just like how to make some chocolate, and then you can freeze it and then have it like easy access. It's just so yummy. So we have some recipes there, and then we also have some tips, and we also would love to invite you to what we're doing next. We are going to do a really fun challenge. Now, this is for anyone, but it's like, what if we could get a little jump start? Sometimes it's like, okay, if I had we're not working with willpower all the time. Sometimes in getting started on something, there's an element to setting yourself up for success, like using a community, using, those resources that we talked about at the beginning. So we're doing a fun 10-day detox. And this is going to be so fun. It's going to start on November 4th. And what we're going to do is just have some focused nutrition. We can go over goals, and we can really have some momentum built up. And then at that 10-day mark, you can reevaluate of like, okay, where do I go from here? And just kind of what habits do I need to keep working on, and what's maybe one more that I could implement, or having an exit strategy there too. And so we want to create health with these healthy habits. And we are so excited that everyone was able to join us tonight. I do, before wanting to close out, if anybody has any questions, we have, what time is it? Let's see. We have just a few minutes. If anybody wanted to hop off and ask a question, we would love to just offer that. Does anybody have any or thoughts that they've had from anything we've shared? Anybody have anything? Okay.
I got something, Jen.
Yeah, please. Okay.
I loved that we talked about the willpower runs out. I have found that to be so true for me, where motivation, I feel all motivated when I go to bed and I write it all out my plan, and then the snooze button calls me every time. So I absolutely know. And I love having that encouragement from the community and from my coach to help me keep going and reach the goals that I'm trying to reach for.
Yeah. I remember when I got started 10 years ago, I remember Dr. Anderson, I don't remember if he said these words, but this is just always what stands in my mind when I hear somebody talking about willpower or motivation, that's just a bunch of bull crap, which is a little intense, but that the habits that we form, that eliminates the need for willpower. And that's why starting small and having intentional focus there can really kind of build on that. So I love that you kind of mentioned that, because any new habit, it kind of like takes that real like commitment to that as well. So love that. And I love how Angie was saying that the EAAs make a big difference for her too. So anybody else have any thoughts or questions or ideas? We will be doing this fun 10-day challenge again. So reach out to the person who invited you for free access. It's free. Join with your friends. You will do better if you have a friend to do it with you, an accountability buddy. So it's going to be super fun. They'll send you a few texts that kind of keep us going for those 10 days. And always habit focused. It's like, what do you have to lose? It's going to be awesome. So thanks so much for joining us tonight, and happy Halloween. We hope it goes really well for you. Use our plan of action sheet, and you guys have a great night. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, I stop. Oh.